Hey everybody, so
Oh,
we
yeah.
are reviewing the current episode of Mando, episode 4, season 3. So that was quite a rush, wasn't it?
I think this one's probably my close to first favorite episode. I don't know if it's quite my favorite episode, but it's up there.
Yeah, and they're all good. But I think Bo-Katan is finding her family. I think that's what this is starting to show, because she lost everything and now she is finding that these people that she once made fun of, that she once regarded as like these backwards, super religious weirdos, are now accepting her with open arms.
And I think that's a big part of that's in in regards as to why due to Grogu.
Oh yeah, like they have taken Grogu in as well with open arms, and yeah.
To the point where we see him get his first piece of armor.
So he got his first piece of armor in this episode, and I thought that was really awesome.
I,
Um,
that was I did not see that coming. To be
I didn't
honest,
either. So Grogu got his first piece of armor. Bo-Katan got her first piece of armor from the armor.
yeah.
Because when she was rescuing the kid,
Or,
she
or Baldwin,
lost that piece of armor off her shoulder, and
or Baldwin.
and so you know, so on one hand, that was really interesting watching Grogu fight that kid, because like the kid got a so that kid had a bad fucking day. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
That this was what was his name? Vizsla's kid had an
Yeah.
awful rotten day today.
Not only did he get swallowed by a Jurassic bird, but
He already had his ass beat by basically a midget that was like like an eighth of size. Like he
now being said, it is a Jedi, and
Yeah, but that was definitely interesting. So they gave him those training darts, which was basically paintballs.
yeah,
And like the rule was, you get three on somebody. It doesn't matter when or how many you do. You get three, you win. Well, Grogu got two. Mando kept on telling him, "Look, kid, you got this. You're doing fine. No, it's fine. You can fight him. This is how this is supposed to be." And so all of a sudden Grogu just jumps up and shows up the kid, just jumps over him like not once but twice, freaks the kid out, and the kid's just like, what the fuck just happened? And then bang bang bang, all three landed
yeah.
right
Why is
where
this
they
green
were.
hairless cat doing somersaults over top of me?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically like how that went. And so if
And what's her name? The female character that makes the armor, the leader.
armor, yeah, she
Yeah, if she wasn't wearing her helmet, like the look on her face, I'm sure she had a smile from ear to ear. Like,
yeah, like there's so many things that we don't get to know about these characters, because about especially the children of the Watts characters, because they keep their helmet on. And so, but yeah, I bet you she smiled ear to ear. She loves that little fucker. She loves Grogu. Like that's the whole thing. She flat out loves that kid.
there's grandma.
And yeah, like that basically. I mean, and she seems, she's very much accepting Bo-Katan. I think she knows that how Bo-Katan and outsiders always viewed the children of the
I
Watts.
think I think her and Bo-Katan are related, and she doesn't know. Bo-Katan doesn't know.
That that could be a thing. But I do think though that she's finding her family. Like Bo-Katan is definitely finding her family. So we lost. So she, the Empire took away her family's claim to the Mandalorian throne, and then destroyed Mandalore. Everybody got scattered, not just the children of the Watch, but Bo-Katan and what's remaining of, we'll say, the worldly, non-religious Mandalorians, the ones that are out killing each other for stupid reasons, and that she's
Yeah,
totally against. And and she's part of it is because she knows that that's not like the way for the Mandalorians, and but because she doesn't have the dark saber again, she doesn't have. They don't recognize her authority. Well, the interesting thing is that the Children of the Watch, even though they know Mando's got the dark saber, they don't recognize he's got any authority either. So that's something that we have to take into consideration. He's got the dark saber, but that's not something that the Children of the Watch actually care about.
Yeah, I think the leader, the chick that's the leader, is Bo-Katan's mom.
Could be, could be. We don't.
So when she makes the comment about uh, Bo-Katan's name and how her family is basically shamed, and you can tell that like she's got like there's a lot of emotion in the comment when she makes it,
Mhm.
almost like she's saying it for her best interest or her well being. Like forget your family name,
Yeah.
like don't go on that road.
Maybe. I don't think I caught that. But some interesting things about like Bo-Katan. So, because Bo-Katan comes from prior animated series, there's already some established lore with her. So, for example, her sister Satine was the one that actually was, I guess, the queen of Mandalore, and so Bo-Katan was supposed to, take up that role, but the other thing too is her sister had I don't think this was canon, but it's definitely talked about. But her sister bumped uglies with Obi-Wan,
Maybe it's her sister.
so that's a possibility. Um, but yeah, you know, So there's all sorts of history with with Bo-Katan, and so we don't know all of the origins. Like, so in order to really understand the armor and if there's any possible connections here, we would possibly be able to find it by rewatching old episodes of Clone Wars and Rebels where they would talk about um,
Yeah, and I
the
can't imagine the
family.
Empire would be too happy with the Mandalorian royal family having survived.
Right, yeah, that's also one of those reasons why one of the many reasons why the Empire targets Bo-Katan so much. It's bad enough that she attacks Imperial targets and well, she steals their supplies so she can survive. I mean, that's how she makes her living, I guess. But but also because she is who she is. And
Yeah,
so just like she's existing and surviving after the empire destroyed her existence, basically. The empire's hanging on after the rebellion crushed them, so there's definitely some common grounds to hate each other there because they're both barely existing.
I mean everybody hates the Empire, but
Yeah.
and that's
And
well, yeah, the hell, the Empire hates the Empire.
oh well, yeah, the empire has no love for its own people, and that's
It's like
that's
Stalin's communism.
Yeah, and so they definitely they don't care. Whoever's in charge of the empire now, I don't know who it is. I don't think they're centrally I don't think they have central authority anymore. Once the emperor like once you cut the snake's head off, the rest of the body dies. And I think in this case the imperial remnant is just a bunch of factions where they
Yeah,
have I don't
one of
think
the
there's any
order or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think the Imperial Remnant has a single leader. I think it's different factions that work together because they still cling to the same values and the same ideals, but they don't there's definitely a lot to this Imperial Remnant command structure that we don't know
Yeah,
about. Um because like you attach that like in the last episode when they were like when the imperial the people that are in the amnesty program. I'm hearing myself talk.
are you getting reverb? You sound fine on my end.
Yeah, you're reverberating. You should probably put on like a headset or something.
Oh, where is my headset? I bet Sarah has it. What about now? How do I sound?
So it was. I can still hear myself. You sound fine. It's when I talk, your microphone is picking up my voice and it's retransmitting. It's starting to not do that anymore. So we're at whatever setting you have right now. Leave it.
All right, try now.
Yeah, I think we're okay now. So,
Okay.
but yeah. So where were we? So the command structure of the Imperial Remnant. I think there's a lot that we don't know yet. I think that there. I don't think there's any sort of central authority left.
Yeah.
Um, and so with the yeah. So with that said, I think that's why like the New Republic is so easily attracted by a lot of the the former Imperial people because they have the command, they have the cohesion, they have the unity. You did it again.
I'm trying to get. Yeah. All right. How about now?
Do I hear myself? No, I don't. Okay. So, ah, God damn it.
You should be good now.
Okay. So the New Republic represents what the Empire was in a way, not because it's the Empire, but because it's a unifying central galactic authority that the former Imperial troops are accustomed to. So I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of them are willing to defect and go to the. You need a headset. Maybe actual headphones.
Are you still reverbing?
Let's find out. I don't think so.
Okay.
So anyway, technical difficulties, guys. But yeah. So anyway, so I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of the people are defecting to the New Republic. Of course, they're realizing the Empire was a big fraud from the beginning in terms of they believed they were doing good for the galaxy, and they weren't. And so that was definitely a big deal. Um, but so with this episode, we didn't actually see anything with the Imperial side. So I kind of hope we see some more. So episode 4, we are halfway through this particular season, and so I definitely want to I definitely hope to see some more with this Imperial story side with Pershing. It's very interesting. And I was kind of sad that I didn't see that in this episode, but yeah, we definitely saw a lot with.
Yeah. I was actually really surprised that he didn't come back in this episode too.
Yeah, but that just means that we'll see more in this next episode, I'm sure, because that they're doing a really cool thing with that story. I'm really impressed with with the Imperial side because Pershing is trying to redeem himself, and of course now he's gotten in trouble, and so they kind of left him what was potentially dying on the medical table without. So we don't know yet if he survived that. I'm sure he did.
Yeah. The
I
last
don't
thing we
think.
saw of him was her turning up the machine, correct?
Yep. He turning up the machine, and he was very clearly in huge distress, and and then the show ended. But in this episode, so what do you think about the that big dragon-looking thing, and then Bo-Katan coming back telling the armor, "Hey, we brought back what,
Three
three
more flight.
newfoundlings,"
Yeah.
and it's like I thought they were like baby space chickens.
They're like baby space condors or
Yeah, like
uh
giant baby space chickens.
yeah, what am I thinking of? Vultures.
Vultures, yeah, giant baby space vultures. We'll go with that. And
Giant
they were just huge, and Like, they were, like now the funny thing about the mama vulture, like, died, that was actually, like, crazy the way, they
Yeah,
took
because
that down.
the secret trader.
Yeah, how convenient was it that when she, like, fell from the sky, there was a big ginormous fish, whale, shark, whatever it was, um, how convenient was it that that hungry thing was down there waiting for something to fall, like
Well, I mean, she was right by her nest, so I'm sure it probably waits for those baby birds to fall out of the nest. You know
Mhm,
what I mean? On some level.
and then all of a sudden, a full-size adult one, well, somebody ate well today, and,
Oh, I'm sure it is pretty well in the ocean or whatever body of water that was. I
yeah,
imagine that's probably the apex predator on the planet.
yeah, so what's really cool, though, is, like, realizing now that they've got these whatever they
Oh, if we
are.
don't see fire bats riding bug bats into combat, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, like, I think that these Mandalorians are going to train these things to, well, to help them fight.
Well, it's gonna be like the Rancor in the Book of Boba Fett.
Uh-huh, that could be. Like, they train them to fight, and, yeah, either way, I think those are gonna be, like, their Rancor equivalents, and they're gonna
Well,
train
that's how
these
they got so
things.
many fire bats. Is sometime long, long ago, some Mandalorian accidentally set those things on fire.
So, I think a big problem that they have that they need to solve is what do you feed those things? I mean, so far, the only thing
The
we kn
Empire.
yeah, well, I mean, so far, the only thing that we know that they is Mandalorians. So, I know that they're not gonna feed them themselves, that would be crazy, but I do think that there's, like, other things that are out there, like, they'll hunt, they'll take care of the fa they'll teach those babies to love them. You know that.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they've
for
got
sure.
they've got a history of that, so, um
Stormtrooper Sunday.
yeah, so I think that's what's gonna happen is the Imperials are gonna find this planet, and, well, they're also gonna find out that they got 3 really big babies that are really freaking hungry, and,
Yeah, it's gonna be Avatar only with lasers.
yep, yep, and, so they'll yeah, either way, I think, that, like, halfway through this season, we're definitely going through, like, a really, really good, it's definitely interesting so far, um, and I think what we're gonna have is like a really dark twist coming up. Like, I think on one hand, it's good for Bo-Katan because she's finding her family, she's finding, um, she's finding a lotta,
This is
she's
a good
finding
power
out
story
she's
at
find
some
yeah,
point.
I think it's a really, really interesting plot twist that the people that she made fun of, that she was taught was, like, Mandalorian rejects, like, super religious, cult-like, and, like, she believed they were a cult, and they probably are, but at the same time, the last
You're a little
remaining
culty.
like, big group
Organized
that
Mandalorian
I mean,
group.
yeah, they are the strongest uh, aspect of Mandalorian culture that exists in the galaxy. Because remember, Bo-Katan's people don't even care about Mandalorian culture. They just decided, fuck it, we're gonna be a bunch of bounty hunters. We're gonna do what we always do. We're just gonna look out for ourselves, and they don't care so much about
Yeah, they're actual
Mandalorian.
people.
And the reason why you know this is, like, if they truly cared about restoring Mandalore, if they truly cared about the Mandalorian culture, they absolutely would have looked past the issue that Bo-Katan didn't have the dark saber. And
Yeah.
so she didn't have the dark saber to begin with when we met them, and they were following her just fine. And, I think they were just using her not being able to regain it or being unwilling to kill Mando for the dark saber, as being, like, an excuse to just go on their own ways. Like, they were only putting
Yeah.
up with her because they felt that was the best thing for them to do, and so I think that what they're doing is is just setting us up to show that the remaining Mandalorians may come to the Children of the Watch. Do you think that we'll find
I think we'll
them?
see some of them. I think we're going to see a power struggle within the Mandalorians for sure, though.
Yeah, like I think we're gonna have, I think we're gonna see that group again, because that group, I really hated. They don't like Bo-Katan, but I think now that because they're off on their own, like because the last time we seen them, they were together, but in this particular, right at the outset, an episode or so ago when we meet Bo-Katan, episode 2, um, she flat out told Mando, "No, they left me. They disappeared. They went on their
Yep.
own way. They don't recognize me as being any sort of authority figure because I don't have the dark saber." And and the thing too is to point out that she wasn't so PO'd enough to "You're in my castle. How about I kill you now and take," like, she flat out doesn't want to kill Mando. Like, that isn't,
Yep.
I think she thinks it's bullshit that she's got to have the dark saber in order to listen.
Oh, for
But
sure she is.
he's got the dark saber, but he doesn't want the authority. Yet he could completely show up with the dark saber and be like, "Come with me or die." And
Yes, and not only does he have the dark saber, but I don't think there's a Mandalorian that's going to best him in combat.
no, exactly. But I also, yeah, and well, it depends too because it's very clear Bo-Katan is very skilled with the dark saber, and that's because that's not the first time we watched her fight live action a couple episodes ago. But that's not the first time she's wielded the dark saber. She's absolutely wielded that dark saber before expertly. She was royal family. She was trained on weapons like that growing up.
Yeah.
Mando wasn't. It's not that the Children of the Watch didn't have melee weapons for them to learn off of, but that if you notice, they're the typical. They're decked out a lot like Boba Fett and Jango Fett.
Yeah.
They got blasters, they've got jetpacks, they
Rockets,
got all sorts of,
flamethrowers.
like they have like daggers and stuff, and they can fight with swords, but that isn't really their way of fighting, unless they have to.
We know they have
And
gun guns.
yeah, so I mean, there was so like, and then Mando had that Beskar staff there for a while,
Yeah, the Vescar
and
spear.
and he had that melted down and turned into a chainmail for Grogu, which was really cool. So that's why, like that shield, that chest, whatever, that chest plate that he got was his second piece of armor. And
Oh yes, I forgot
y-
they got the chainmail.
yeah, so like that was yeah, so he was already wearing Mandalorian armor. That's one of the reasons they accept him because he has, Mandalorian armor. And then we find out from the armor that it's the Mandalorian way for everybody in the group to donate some of their
Yeah,
earnings to contribute to
for
to a
the
youngling.
yeah.
And so yeah, so that particular uh, piece of armor was the armorer's contribution to say, here's what I'm giving you. Or maybe it was collectively from the group. I don't know,
It
but
was
we do know. I think they would. I think they would have. I think it was her personal gift to him, just like
maybe she put it off of like her, like off of herself, not from like the counter.
might have. I don't remember that. I'd have to rewatch that scene and look. But yeah, I think that might have been a thing. Um, but yeah, but we'll just go with that was most likely her personal contribution because that's what it looked like anyway. And I
And
mean,
that's the
she's the one.
emotional like, sound in her voice, and it sounded very much like this was a personal.
Yeah, like she and especially the events leading up to it. So while they were off fighting, getting Vizsla's kid back from the from the vulture dragon, They
Yeah.
like she had said, basically said, Grogu, you're too small and too young to go fight this, but come with me. And it's like, okay, cool. And so Grogu goes in and, sees, and she starts explaining the armor, the culture, and
Yeah.
I think that's really awesome though that they're accepting him with wide open arms, because the Jedi and the Mandalorian historically have not been not been
Super
friends.
friends.
But even Bo-Katan pointed out in last episode that once upon a time, the Jedi and the Mandalorian were friends. They were allies. They worked together, and
Yeah.
then there started being problems thousands of years ago, and that's why the dark saber was created, was to give them a weapon to fight the Jedi. So that was very, very fascinating.
Yeah.
And of course, you got Mando, who knows that this saber is a big deal, so he's protecting it because that's his duty. But he doesn't have an emotional connection to it. This is his duty. Um, the Bo-Katan would absolutely be is emotionally attached to that thing, because she knows that that's
Yeah. Her
her
family
ticket.
was on the road to this.
That's her ticket to authority and restoring, the Mandalorian throne. That's her ticket to being who she was raised to be. But at
Yeah.
the same time, this wasn't, well, this isn't Mando's way. Mando doesn't care. Mando knows, I've got this thing. I've got to take care of it. So he's not going to, but he was willing to just give it to her, like, and yet she had to say no. I couldn't accept it from you even if
Yeah.
I wanted to, because if I take this,
Because it'd
then
be
it,
nothing. It'd be hollow.
yeah, yeah. So it was good though. Like so now that she's finding her family with the children of the Watch, that was something that I found really, really fascinating, because like she go, because now she's actively trying not to take her helmet off, because before she
Yeah.
didn't care. Now it could be too that she's literally in the camp with all of them and realizes that they'll probably kill her if she takes it off, or it's going to cause unnecessary drama. But I think
I
she's
just sooner
also,
to get closer to Mando and to stay with Grogu.
yeah, but I also think that she is very much loving the sense of family and unity.
I think that
And
comes later on in the episode where she realizes that.
yeah, I think she's starting to realize that these people have taken her in. She lost her first Mandalorian, well, first and second Mandalorian families, like her actual family, and then the people that, the little ragtag team of, I think there were like three or four others, something like that. And but they were all in their self, after their own self-interest, and they didn't really care about her, because the way they saw it, the old ways were gone, and they were
Yeah.
just hanging out with her, because hanging out with her and fighting with her was their
She
way
actually,
of making a living.
gave them some direction rather than no direction.
Yeah, and I mean they were working with her because she was helping them get paid, and it was their job, and they worked together. That's what it was. They didn't actually like her as much as you think. So they didn't have real camaraderie. They're what bound them was money. And as soon as they realized that they could go make money without her help, that's exactly
Yeah.
what they did. They, because they were making money, they probably pooled their money together and got their own ship and got away from her.
Yep. Going out and to collect some bounties.
Yep, doing what, and I think it's funny because that's what Mandalorians have always done. They've always been bounty hunters, and that's because they're really good at it. They're equipped for it. I mean, if you're somebody on the run and you got a Mandalorian going after you, you've got
I thought you're
you
fucked.
yeah, I mean they're fucked, and you can't not, you can't take it lightly. And so that's why they get hired, because they get the stuff done. And right now, it's Mando that's considered like the best of them all. We found that out in like one of the, like, I think the first episode or two of the whole series, where he was told, "Hey, um, you're the best of the best, and we're calling you because nobody else can do it."
Yeah.
And yeah, so that
I mean,
was
he is. I mean, he's. I would say his combat prowess is far higher than any of the other Mandalorians we've seen thus far.
yeah, I think the only match that he has is Bo-Katan. I think she is the only other
I
one.
wouldn't even say she was a match. I'd say the armor might be a match,
Maybe.
just because of she has that wisdom about her, like that she has been in a lot of fights,
That's
and
true.
she
But I
speaks.
also
She's older, and
I think the
a
only
lot
other
of
one that I think the only other
yeah,
one that's given him a good run for his money too was Vizsla. I think that was in an episode of the Boba Fett when they were going through that story arc of Mando, which I still
yeah,
think was annoying, but whatever. And but they, those two fought, and he got his ass handed to him by Vizsla.
yep,
Like that was his first ticket to not get kicked out of the watch was okay, well, if you can beat Vizsla, then you're not exiled. But Vizsla
right.
beat him, and yeah, so but I also think too that Vizsla is more, like his role is within the Children of the Watch. I don't think Vizsla is actually a bounty hunter. I don't think he really goes out and does that. Like we don't see him or hear much
No, I
about.
think he's like their combat trainer.
Yeah, like I think his job is literally to train other Mandalorians to do their jobs,
Yep,
and he's clearly very good at
the
it.
enforcer.
So he's got, and it's cool now. He's got we find out he's got a son that he trains, and his son is good at what I think his son's going to turn out all
This
right.
is the best of the younglings for sure.
Yeah, like yeah, as far as, but I think the only one that's given him a run for his money, I think his name was Ragnar. I think the only one that's giving
Yeah, right.
Ragnar a run for his, yeah, the only one that's giving him a run for his money is Grogu, but that's because Grogu's like a space wizard slash Mandalorian now.
I think Grogu would honestly give any of the Mandalorians a run for their money if he needed to or if he wanted to,
Oh, I do too. I
and
mean,
come out victorious.
exactly, because it's gonna, yeah, he's good. Like Grogu, like I thought that was really cool. Like all of a sudden, out of the blue, he just started giving Ragnar everything he had in that little training battle. And
Yeah,
but I don't even think that was everything. I think he just like did that to screw with him. I think he's like, oh well, if I'm supposed to do this, all right, cool. I'll show you a little bit of what I do. Jumped over him twice and just looked at him like, what are you gonna do about it? Bang, bang,
yeah.
bang, and
I can
won the
fly, bitch.
contest. It was some funny stuff.
I
I mean,
believe I can fly.
yeah, I thought that was
I
interesting too
believe
when
I
they
can
said
shoot you
training
above the
when they
face.
said yeah, when they said training darts, I wasn't quite sure what to expect with
I was
training
expecting
darts.
something a little bit more not paintballs.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting paintballs at least, and they put the thing on him,
I was
the
thinking like
little,
shock round or something like that.
yeah, like I figured it was going to be something like the whistling birds because that's what it looked like was the little thing mounted on the shoulder with the little, the barrels,
Yeah,
and ended up being fucking paintballs. What the hell? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with using paintballs. They're
I am.
definitely, but
If
it's
I'm not
like, but it's like I feel like they took something that was probably originally a Mandalorian child's toy and turned it into a training weapon because, well, I guess that's what you do when your civilization's on the run from the whole universe because,
right,
well, you
and
also
not
know
only do they not get along with the Empire, but they also don't get along with quite a few other factions within the Star Wars reality.
yeah. I mean, they definitely so like one thing to keep in mind is because they are on the run. So those weapons, so that weapon, like again, because it resembled the whistling bird, um they have other things that are like that that use that similar style launch system. So the fact
Is
is,
there like a shorter thing that's got it?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna say in the first episode of Mando, or like the first season of Mando, there was like a shoulder fired version of the whistling bird or something like that.
Yeah, I should really go back and watch that. But yeah, so they definitely have like really cool weapons, and but so that definitely it was based on a real weapon, so it's obviously a good training tool. Just because, but either way, paintballs, I was really disappointed. I expected to see something to like do some hurt.
I was waiting for him to shoot that third dart and Grogu to stop it in midair. Is what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, someone on Facebook. Yeah, Sophia, you probably shouldn't watch this until you've seen the new season. Yeah, this is going to be full of spoilers. But so they definitely had all sorts of like that was pretty cool. They were all practicing fighting each other. It's like okay, so what do they do when they're bored and they're down? I guess they all whip each other's ass.
Yeah, they fight more.
Yeah. I mean, of course, considering they're a military society,
You know
they
what they
fight.
don't do?
Huh?
I said, you know what they don't do?
Huh.
See each other's faces. No hanky panky. No kissy kissy.
It's easier to like whip somebody's ass if you don't know what they look like.
Mm,
It's easier to care less.
eh. There are some people's faces that I see, and I'm just like, that face needs punched. That's
Yeah,
a very punchy face.
it's really hard to punch faces when there's a big piece of metal in the way.
Yeah. Yep. I suppose it's a pretty good deterrent from keeping somebody from punching in the face.
Yeah, but you then we find out people do it anyway, so
I don't know how many Mandalorians have slept with another Mandalorian and come to find out when they remove the helmet, it's
yeah. Oh my god. And of
when
course
they're
all
in
of
the
this that
Mandalorian
begs the
and
question
then
is
they
what
take the
is
helmet off, you find out that it's fucking Sloth from the Goonies.
I mean it makes you wonder like what does the armor look like?
Yeah, and what does their face look like not being washed for? Can you imagine the smell underneath that?
Oh god. I think they probably have better hygiene than what we would expect. But I also
Yeah,
think that if you're constantly wearing your armor and your whole society has to do with, don't take your helmet off. First off, who cares if you shave? Second off, who cares if you got body hair or smell bad?
you need some
I,
badass breath, like some raise the dead stank ass breath.
oh, they smell that shit in their helmet.
Like, yeah, they don't need nukes. They just gotta take their helmets off and they'll clear a planet real quick.
yeah, they're
Which makes me wonder how good of a dental plan do Mandalorians have? Because
right. And the other thing too that begs the question, we talk about this whole, about the how the Bo-Katan and Mando probably eventually bumping uglies. Yeah, but what about the armor? Like first off, she's very close to Vizsla, and obviously there's children, so Vizsla had to sleep with somebody.
I'm sure she.
What if the armor is well Vizsla's kid's son? Like what if? And you notice she was really worried about when that kid was sent
I
off.
think Amber's Bo-Katan's sister.
Well, I don't know about Bo-Katan's sister. I do think the armor is definitely uh, Ragnar's mom because
Oh,
if
for sure.
if you take a look at the way she behaved um, when they were
And when
getting that
we
search party started, she was very much on top of trying to get those. And you got to fix your shit again. But they were very much on top of trying to get everything
what's
ready,
wrong with
doing
it?
it the right way. Yeah, I'm echoing again.
Which is weird because I haven't touched anything.
I know. But yeah, so they you need to keep a headset by your computer.
I had one by the computer. I have a wife
Oh yeah.
that, well, let's just say it's probably upstairs with that computer.
You need a minute to go grab it?
I mean, I can. I don't know where it's at. I suppose I can take my laptop with me.
But yeah, so I'm thinking that because of the way she was preparing and very big on, protecting the youngling. Let's not use jetpack. Let's not use. And I think that you know what, we're gonna put this in.
I got a better idea. Nope, I got it.
Even earbuds would have worked.
That's what I'm putting one in right now.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's why whenever I do this, I always use, a headset.
Fuck. Sorry, I just dropped it halfway across the goddamn floor.
It's all right, it happens. But yeah, this is why when you're doing a live stream or a video conference, it's not good to rely on your computer's internal microphone, because very clearly, even after your levels are adjusted, it still does things it shouldn't. And of course now it's behaving. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see if I have a... All righty. Well, we're still waiting on Jeff to find his. So let's take a break. I'll set this for a 5-minute break, but I'll come back. We'll come back sooner. So, yeah. See you in a few minutes, guys. Alrighty. You
Can
working
you hear me?
again? Yep. And I'm not echoing, so fantastic. So I think we got somebody watching on Twitch right now. Milson Weiss, how you doing? So, but yeah. So, like I told the chat there on Twitch, there's a very important lesson here about not using your laptop's internal mic because it doesn't work.
Or having a wife that takes all of the headphones and they're all dead. Not a single one of them has charge.
Yeah. So with that little sound card mixer that I brought over that time, if you start using that, that'll actually help mitigate some of those problems because it actually has a microphone level input that will actually stop the problem that you're having.
Because
So
what?
the little black box that I brought over, that's
Yeah.
like, if you use that, that'll also help mitigate this problem. That's why I won't stream without one.
Oh well,
Because
then I'll need to set it up.
yep. Next time I come over, which will probably be later today, we'll go over that and I'll explain that a little bit. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, if you've not streamed before or you've wondered just what goes into streaming, you wind up having to spend a lot of money on stuff. And it's not necessarily like a lot of money that we've invested, but it winds up being a lot of things you find out you need to invest in. So, like a piece of equipment that something that you can find on Amazon, just called a live sound card. It's something of a mixer sound card. Most of them have voice changers. Most importantly, you can control input and output levels. And for example, if I'm like, one of the things I do is I'll silence my desktop speakers before I go live. And that's really easy to do. You know, I mean, granted, I don't use the mixer for it, but if I wanted to, in theory, I could mitigate the problem by reducing my microphone input so it's not as sensitive to pick up, external sounds. And I wouldn't do that while you're on air.
I'm not. I'm putting the cords back up.
Okay. But yeah, so why don't you hold that up to the camera and just show everybody what that is?
That's what I did. You just
Yep.
weren't watching.
So that one, that's not the same. That's not the one that I have over here. It's buried under a cable, so I can't pick mine up. But it's actually behind the camera. But either way, those are really, really good things to invest in. You can find one very similar to that on Amazon for about 20-25 bucks. So, if you're thinking about streaming and you want to get something, and the other cool thing is, so if I come in and I play like a music file just on my computer, so if you know what, let's find something that's royalty free and go to the YouTube audio library. So YouTube has a bunch of stuff that you access from the Creator Studio, something that is something that you can use in your stream, you can use wherever. So let's try this. You hear that, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm here. No, I can't hear it.
Oh, you don't hear that? You
All
didn't
right,
hear the
play it
music?
now. No, I don't hear any music.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know why it's not. I guess those are things that's actually really important for us to sort out. But anyway, so back to like Mandalorian related stuff. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna find out that the armor is like in Vizsla were sleeping and they made Ragnar because there's no way that she cares about a random youngling like that just out of duty. I mean, there's just no way that she was emotionally invested in that kid.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, she like her whole tone changed. Like she was on Bo-Katan's ship helping plan things. She had told Vizsla very specifically Vizsla to go. Granted, he would have went anyway because that's his son, but I mean, he also takes orders from her, and yeah, she
Yeah, she's definitely got a.
She would have went on that if she didn't have to take care of Grogu. Like she was watching Grogu for them to keep Grogu out of trouble. And because
Yeah,
Grogu would have done shit. That kid gets into everything, and like he was sitting there playing with those what would at first look like moving rocks, but turns out he was screwing with crabs that looked like
yeah.
rocks. Even Mando thought they were just rocks. Like, sorry, kid, play with you'll have to play with the rocks later. It's
He's either
training
trying to
time.
play with everything or eat anything.
Yeah, and then the next thing we see, like I think he was thinking about eating that fucking crab. Like he looked at it, he was looking at it. He had that look in his eye. He was thinking about it. There was
I can't hear you. You're japping out.
okay. I don't know what just happened. I had to. That was weird. So my webcam quit working. My sound card quit working. I had to turn it back on. I think it's working again. But yeah, he was definitely thinking about. According to the stream, the green screen's not playing. I don't care if that's working or not. But the kid was definitely trying to eat those damn crabs. Like he was looking, he was smiling, he was excited. He had that "I'm hungry" look on his face.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, that was crazy. You know what? Let me see if I can't bring back the green screen.
He definitely had that look on his face. Like, I wonder what this tastes like.
Yeah, like yeah, so the other fun thing about going live is you have technical problems. Like our first attempt at going live was plagued with connectivity issues um on Sunday, and then today Jeff learned a very important lesson about not using laptop internal mics, which I never attempted. I just always assumed I
It
needed
was
a
on my
headset.
phone mic. It was on my phone mic. That's why it was you were getting reverb because my phone was right next to the speakers.
Yeah, and again, if you use the like headphones at the very least, because the mic on it is fine. It's just don't use
No, it
speakers.
was
That's
the speaker was next to my. So the speaker on the laptop was playing the sound, and my phone microphone was picking it up.
yeah. So, but if you use that yeah, at least now you got that solved. I mean, whatever you're using, keep using it. But yeah, um, but yeah. So I don't know what happened on my end. I've literally never watched that happen before. So my sound card completely lost power. Computer was telling me that there was no sound device plugged in. Okay. The webcam was glitching out too, like a completely like this computer all of a sudden had a problem with the USB hub. So that's this computer's also been running for a while. I think it's been so. Remember when you mentioned those Windows updates that hosed your
Yeah.
system? So officially, I haven't rebooted this since long before that. So to give you an idea, right now I am at over 27 days uptime on this computer, and it wants to update or wants to reboot for an update. So like, yeah, this is one of those things where I will very likely have a problem after I reboot. But clearly, the USB hub's screwing up. So, because Melon is through the web browser, the way to
Yeah.
unscrew it would be for me to leave and come back. But I also believe that would end in the stream, and I'm not trying to do that. But we've been at this for about an hour. I don't see nobody's talking to us on YouTube. Facebook had a little bit of engagement. Twitch. I don't know. But
I got a few things that I need to get done. I gotta start making some. Are you coming over tonight?
I probably am, but hey, let's go ahead and let me go ahead and end this stream, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep, have a good one, guys.